What I'm going to get into today is, this is more for the first year people, but if you look up on the screen here, all I did was I went into Google and I typed in Visual Studio 2022 download for Windows 10. Now, before we even do this, I've already got a version of Windows running on my machine, but it's an older version. You probably do not have Visual Studio. We're not talking Visual Studio Code here. This is a separate product. But if I come out here and I go over to my control panel, and under my control panel, you don't have to do this, but if I go to Programs and Features, you'll notice that if I look long enough, there's Visual Studio Community, and you'll notice I put it in almost a year ago. All right? So I'm going to come and right mouse click on here, and I'm going to choose Uninstall. Again, you shouldn't have to check for this, unless you have already grabbed and downloaded an older version of this. It says I'm about to uninstall this. Yeah, it's okay. And this will take anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes. Probably it'll go pretty quick. And what I am going to do is, the first day of class, I'm going to repeat this. All right, because I've got you guys here, but I've got a bunch of people who are not here today. Not only that, I'm taping this. I'm going to send this to everybody, so hopefully everybody will be able to do it themselves before we start class. But I'm not even going to ask, because sometimes people are like, I didn't get it to work, but heck, everybody else did. And I don't want to sound like the dum-dum. So I'll just do it again anyway. But I just want to show you, because it's really and truly, it's not very hard to do. It literally should take us a matter of minutes. This should be the only install that you have to do. All right, I'm going to be responsible for, I'm putting together already, very similar to what you had before. During the break, you'll be getting a thing from me that'll be out on GitHub, where you'll be able to download all of the homeworks, etc., like you were before. All right. Okay, looks like it's almost finished. At least I'm hoping so. And I believe that's everything. It's out of here now, as you can see. All right, so when I do this, let me just tell you again really quickly, and that is the book that we're using. It's a newer book. I mean, it came out literally this year. That said, when it came out, it is not set up for Visual Studio 2022. So in other words, some of the screenshots that are in the book are going to end up being a little bit different than what you see. I don't think it's going to provide any problems, but there's not a big thing in the book that says how to do this. So when we do this, well, there's the launch, there's a preview. This is the actual one we want, which is visualstudio.com/downloads. It's the third one down when I did it, and it says download Visual Studio tools, etc. And this is what you should see. All right. Now, just say this real quick. It's not a big thing, but just so you know. All right, everything we'll do is going to be on the Community Edition. You can, notice, if you do this, be real leery of this, because I've had people do this before. Microsoft is very good at giving you a free trial for 30 days. Sometimes they send you emails, and if they don't, they just start charging you. All right, because I don't want anybody to say, yeah, well, now I got to pay stuff, and it's all your fault. No, just download the community one. All right, So I'm going to click here where it says free download. Now again, notice there's that for the Mac, and there's Visual Studio Code here as well. So I'm just going to write here under Visual Studio 2022 Community, I'm going to click the free download. Now, it says thank you, and as you can see, it's doing the download right here. All right. And I'm going to right mouse click on that, and I'm going to choose open, which should open it when it's done. It's done. So I'm going to say yes. All right, it's going to run through this. You feel free to read this if you want to, and if you don't, then don't. It's no big thing, right? One way or the other. All right, it says before you get started. Now yours may not look exactly like this because it's doing some stuff with the installer. All right, and the reason it is I've already had this in there before. If you have not had it downloaded before, you may or may not have it in there, and it's no big thing whether you do or whether you don't. It's a little bit confusing, and yeah, there we go. But because when it comes up, it's like, okay, well, we got all this stuff. Do I just load everything? No. Let's just quickly take a look at what's in here, and I'll tell you what I think you need and what you don't need. All right? So taking from the top, ASP.NET and web development. If we cover that at all, it's at the very end of the class, just so you know. But I'm going to download that one anyway. The Node stuff, we don't use this. You can build Node applications from Visual Studio. We don't do that here. All right. Mobile development, no. Universal Windows development says create applications for Universal Windows platforms with C#, etc. Yes. So I want this one up here that says ASP.NET and web development. And I want this one down here that says Universal Windows platform development. Still not done. Looking at the stuff that's still on top here, let's see. It says Azure Development, no. And Azure is a way that, again, you can build server apps and push them out to the internet. It's one way of doing it. Python, we're not doing Python. C++, no. And now that I look at this, this says create applications for Universal Windows Platform. And this says build WPF. I'm not going to download this one. I'm going to download this one that says .NET Desktop Development. So right now, those are the two things I've downloaded, are ASP.NET and web development and .NET Desktop Development, okay? This is C++. No, we don't need it. Now, if you decide that you want to come in here and start making games and you want to download Unity, that, of course, is not my call. If you think, you know what, I don't think you know what you're talking about, I'm going to download everything, you can do that. Last time I checked, this was several gig. All right, I'm not sure exactly how big it is, though. All right, and yes, we are going to be doing some database stuff in here, so I'm also going to choose the data storage and processing. I'm not going to choose data science or Visual Studio Extension development or Linux or Office SharePoint. So again, the three that I chose were ASP.NET and web development, which we probably won't use, but we'll see how far we get in the semester. You do want the .NET desktop development right here, and you do want the data storage and processing. All right? Now, let's see. So I've got all that, and you can see over on the side what is chosen, okay? So yours hopefully looks like mine. Then just click the button that says install in the bottom right-hand corner. Now again, depending on the speed of your machine, the speed of the network, etc., this can be very fast or it can be very slow. All right, I will tell you one of the reasons too I'm having you guys do it now is it can take quite a while. And I really and truly don't, I'm hoping that the first day, again, I'm going to go back and do this just in case there's some people who have not done it yet. But I don't want us to take any more time than we have to. Plus, I'm going to show you the environment, and maybe we'll even write a real quick program or two, just so you see it, and you see the kind of stuff that we're going to do. All right, you'll notice it says here downloading and verifying, and even with just these three things, it's 2.5 gig. All right, so you can monitor the thing yourself on here, but it looks to me like it's going to take a good 5 minutes plus. All right, I know that in the afternoon class we downloaded a few things this semester, and I know at least with one of them that we did was like, okay, now we got, like one guy's like, no, mine just started. All right, and I get it, okay? And I won't lie to you, I sort of know what's going on in the background, but I'm not a hardware guy. All right, I just told it what to install, and I'm taking for granted that's what it's doing right now. All right? So at the beginning of next semester, you shouldn't have to do any of this when I go back and repeat it. And like I said, there's at least, I think there's 4 other people in here, maybe 5, right now signed up to take the class in spring. And I'm going to send this video out to everybody, including you guys, even though you're doing it right now. All right, I just got a mass mailing list with everybody who's in the class, so.
The homework basically set up the same way, where it's labs, homework.
It'll be homework and labs. It'll be, a lot of it will be the same way. And when we start next semester, at least some of it we'll do together. Because it's, especially for the newbies, so to speak. I mean, I've had one person who's emailed me and said, that basically he doesn't know anything about programming. He's looking forward to being in the class. So I don't want to, I want to take for granted that we're all starting kind of at ground zero. But yeah, it'll be very similar. The only thing that'll be different is we're not going to be going over the tests the way that we've done them now.
Right.
I'm going to give them to you, and I'm going to ask that you get them done within a week. As long as you've made an attempt, you're going to get credit for it. But still, I'm going to make them only worth 10 points apiece.
So are they like in the same boat that kind of they were in?
Yes, that's exactly where they were
Okay.
last semester,
Cool.
or a year ago, I guess. So again, these guys come fall next year, they'll be in your class right now. You guys will be with these two, all right? And we'll be that'll be their last class, and it'll be your third class. So. And also, just so you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I watched a few videos on this weekend, and there were some really neat features, stuff that you guys back here you didn't see last year. They've got a thing now called Hot Reload. You can make changes while your program's running and hit a reload button, and you don't have to rerun the program anymore. That's one of the biggest features that they have in there right now. I haven't even tried it because I haven't brought up 2022 yet. All right. So the first part has been downloaded. All of the other packages are almost there at 75%. And don't worry, because if I go on and you're like, well, I'm not done yet, it's just going to have, hopefully at least, a few things that it asks you. Like, what is your language? For which you'll say C#, which is C with a pound sign. There's not a whole heck of a lot of stuff you typically have to do here. You'll notice too that mine says, I guess I could have unchecked this, but it says start after installation. So here it is. Okay, you will get a new icon over here. I've got 2 of them. One of them is probably the old one, okay, because I didn't remove that icon, but that's no biggie. Okay, so now with this, you're going to eventually get to this. All right? Now, says no account, create one. You can create a Microsoft account if you want. You may have one already. The school may have created one for you. I don't remember. All right, I don't do that. Mr. Corrigan usually handles all that stuff. So when it comes up, you should be able to say, not now, maybe later, and it's fine. Okay? Now, just so you know, these are the 4 themes that you get. There may even be other ones that you can download. I don't know. I like the light just because it's the one that resonates the best when I make tapes. Now, if you like, I could care less what you use. All right, it's your machine, so use whatever you want. But I'm going to use, notice it's the dark, and it's typically called Darkula. All right, but I'm just going to switch to the light, and I'll tell it to start Visual Studio. Now notice we're preparing for first-time use. You should get something that looks very similar to this. And again, don't worry. Oh yeah, you're so much further than us. It's okay. I want to wait from right now. I want to wait until everybody is up to this point. All right?
My machine is running really slow this morning. I'm only at 10%, just so you know.
That's okay. Then what I'll probably end up doing is just pausing this video. But if you weren't already aware of this, a good year plus ago, Microsoft bought GitHub. You know, what don't they own? But they also, notice, clone a repository. So I could put something out there and have you clone it and bring it up. All right? We're typically not going to do that, but just so you know. This will be for stuff that you already have. All right? So notice here I've got a bunch of stuff. You won't have anything here because you haven't created any projects yet. So don't worry about it if yours looks totally different than mine. All right? And that'll be open a local folder. I've never used that one. What we will be using will be create a new project. All right? So if yours is still downloading, then let me just pause this for right now. Again, just so everybody watching this video knows, as I've said, what we did first was I just went out and Googled downloading Visual Studio 2022, all right, for Windows 10. And this is about the 3rd one that comes up right here. Once we chose that, we went to downloads. We did the community edition. I wish I'd have written them down, but it's the first one, the ASP.NET and web development. Then the one for data storage, which will allow us to do database stuff. And then I had the wrong one, but it's up here about in the middle someplace, and it says like .NET Desktop or something like that. And the reason that I'm having you do it, we're going through this in here right now, is if you've got a machine with a very slow, you know, that's very slow to download, it's going to take a while. So this may take up to an hour, unfortunately. All right? So when we're all finished, we'll come back, and what it should look like then when we come back is it should end up looking like this. So if you get to here, all right, that's where you should be. And I'm just going to quickly talk about a couple of the things in here. You won't have this because you don't have any projects created. All right, you'll notice if you look on the dates in here, all of them are in May. So they're ones I did last semester, except this one, and that is when we had the open house, I brought up a C# project so that people could see what we were working on. Okay. Sounds like everybody is here now. And just so you know, so you've got some kind of point of reference, it took close to an hour to get here. So again, if you are doing this from your home and you've got a fast internet connection, it may take 10 minutes. I'm going to run through the steps again the first day of class. That said, I'm probably not going to do that from here because even with mine, it took enough time. All right? So the one that you're going to choose virtually all of the time in here is create a new project. So if you click on that, and again, yours may look like mine, yours may look a little different, just so you know, all right? Now, when you look in here, it's a little confusing. You've got console app, you've got this. You may even have other stuff. I don't know. But just to show you, I'm going to show you very quickly a console app, and I'm going to show you a GUI app, just so you see those. You can build them, you can just watch. You're not turning it in or anything anyway, it doesn't matter. But let's just say that it came out, it didn't show me these, and I knew I wanted to do a C# console app. All right, so I can come in and type in up here, so I could put in C# console, and you'll notice that it'll start showing me stuff. So there's console app in C#. All right, so I'm just going to click on that one, and I'm going to click next. And again, all this stuff that I'm going over with you, we will do it all the first day. We will do it, we will write a few programs as a class, so don't worry about it. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit confusing. All right, first thing, project name, then location, then solution name. Probably the easiest one of those for you to understand is the middle one, location. So where do you want to save it? Well, I'm just going to come here, and I'm going to say that I want to save it onto my desktop. Now, sometimes when you do that and you select this, it doesn't take it. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, I do. It's a Microsoft product. But, sometimes that happens. Now, you've got a project and you've got a solution. You're going to see this in just a second. But just so you know, a solution can contain multiple projects. All right? By default, you'll notice they're named the same thing, but they don't have to be. So I'm just going to, I'll put in here just so you see it. So I'm going to say my first project. And you'll notice that it changes here too. I don't want them to be the same. Normally it doesn't hurt at all if they are the same. But just to show you they can be different. So for the solution, I'm going to put my first solution. All right? And just leave that unchecked right here. Well, again, we're going to talk about all this stuff, and I'm going to click next. And it says, what version of the framework, so the underlying software, which one do you want to use? Well, we want the latest and greatest, and that's pretty much your choice, all right? So I'm going to click Create. It should literally take a matter of seconds. Now, you may be asked stuff the first time you get in there, like what language are you using, etc. You may not be, all right? I think the reason that I'm not is it was smart enough to realize what I'm working on. So you're looking at this, and I've got this program here, etc. I don't even want that. I don't know why it did it like this. This looks different than it has in the past, but that's okay. Let's just see. I'm going to try to run this and just see if it works. I don't know if it will or not. To make it work, to run it, you just click that green thing up here, that green arrow. And if it works, you're going to know real fast. Or maybe not that fast. It'll say, hello world. There it is. See that? Now that's not, who cares? It's no big thing. But I just want to quickly show you the kind of stuff that we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to take this line, I'm going to comment it out, and I'm going to put in here, I don't know, I'm going to put in a couple things. So I'm going to put in here string, I think it wants a little s, string, first name equals Jeff, string, last name equals Scott. Now notice as soon as I do this and I hit enter, see how it pushed it back over? It does a bunch of auto lining up, but if you want to be, you can do that afterwards if you want to. Not that that's a big thing one way or the other. And I'm going to say in here, int age equals 64. No, 5. Had a birthday a while back. So I'm going to leave it like that, and now I'm going to come in here and do just kind of what they had up above. So I'm going to say console.writeLine. My name is, in fact, let's do this. I'll make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to say string, full name equal first name plus a blank space plus last name. Oops. Yeah. All right. And so my name is, so full name plus, and I can put this over multiple lines just so you see it. And I am plus age plus years old. Now, a couple things just so you see this. We don't have our template literals. That's something that's unique to JavaScript. All right. Also, unlike JavaScript, which is unbelievably forgiving language, this is not. We have to let it know that these are strings. We have to let it know that that's a whole number. All right? And strings, unlike JavaScript, must be in double quotes. Cannot be in single quotes. If I come back and try to change this, I'm getting an error. See the red right there? It's saying it doesn't understand what I'm trying to do. In fact, well, it looks a little weird, but there. It still doesn't like it, though. And as soon as I come back in and make that double quotes, it'll be fine. So when we run this, what should happen is it should say, my name is Jeff Scott, and I am 65 years old. All right? So if I go and click that button right there, where is it? There it is, up on top. Now, again, it's not grand and glorious, but the point is, when we first start writing these apps, we're going to write a few. These are called console apps. That's what we're going to write. All right? Then we will very quickly get away from there. So I can do a file, save all, and I'm just going to do a file. And I'm going to say new project, because I want to show you the other kind that we're going to create. All right? So that is, where is it here? I'm trying to see what's in it. Look, I mean, you can see, look at this. This is a lot bigger than it used to be. All right? There used to be maybe 10, 12 things in there. That's what I want. It's a Windows Forms app. Okay? And I'm going to click the C# one and click Next. And same kind of stuff you saw before. All right? So I'm just going to call this my second project. And for the solution, all right, it looks like it wants to put it in the same solution I'm in. All right, so I'm just going to add it to what I've got. It doesn't matter. All right, and I'm going to click Next, yeah, and Create. Now, this is going to look a lot different. All right, so what do you mean it looks a lot different? Well, this is you can continue work. Here it is. That's our form. So this is very similar to the forms that we were creating when we were working in JavaScript, except now what I'll end up doing, and like I said, don't worry if none of this makes sense. It's okay. So I'm going to pin this. All right. And it'll hopefully, sooner or later, there's my tools. So if I want to come in here and I want to put in some labels. So there's a label. There's a label. And I'll put in 3 text boxes. So there's a text box, there's a text box, and there's a text box. And there's even different ways I can do all that. All right, so I can make these, I can pretty them up. You'll notice it tries to line stuff up for me. I can do, it's called lassoing these and make them so they're all pretty much the same size. All right. So I can come in there and I can do all that kind of stuff. All right. But if the idea is I want to put something in here, I want to put something in here, and then let's say that I want to click a button. So that come up there and I put in button. All right. I'll make a couple of them. So there's a button and there's another button. All right. So the idea is what I want to be able to do is to click this button and take whatever I put here and whatever I put there and put the answer there. That makes sense? And then when I click this button, I want that to clear, and that to clear, and that to clear, and I want the mouse to go there. All right? Now, again, I don't know if I'm making it easier or harder, but when you look at here, first of all, notice, I can't make this bigger. And I don't want it to say that. All right? But yeah, you can make it bigger. You got to highlight them. And then again, this is to me is like Microsoft stuff. All right, and which I don't understand. Okay, let's see. Maybe it only wants one at a time. But if we start looking in here, there is a property, and I got to remember it because it's been a while. All right, but there's a property in here that allows us to auto size. And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to leave it off because I don't want to waste your time. But I'll come over here where it says label, and I'm going to change this. So I'm going to come down. And when I go down far enough, there'll be something that says text. All right, there it is. So I'm going to change that text to put full name. And you can see how that changed. And I'm going to put another one here that's going to say age. All right, and you can see that too. All right, and then these are my text boxes. Typically, you go and you name all this stuff. So this label, this full name right here, okay, I would come in here, and right now it's called Label 1, which is a really bad name. So I'd come in here and I'd call it LBL full name. All right, and I'll click on this one, and I'll call it LBL age. And then I'll click on this one. This is a text box, and I'm going to call it TXT full name and TXT age. Okay, and then this one, I'm just going to be a message, so I'll just call it TXT message. And that one, I don't want you to be able to click it and do anything. So I'm going to come down here to where it says, someplace down here it'll say read only. There it is. And I can either double click it, which changes it, and you can see it's gray now, or I can just click the drop down and change it to true. All right. And then I've got a couple buttons here. This first button, there's not really any calculation that's being done, but I'm going to call it BTN calculate anyway. All right. And the stuff that's, oh, that was the wrong one. So the text that goes on the button will just say calculate. And it looks like I spelled it wrong. CALCULATE, calculate. And you can see how that changed. And then the name of the button, I'm going to change that to BTN calculate. And then this one will be, the name of this button will be BTN clear. And the text that's on that button will say clear. Okay? All right. I can actually go and run this now. Notice I can take this. I can make it smaller. This is all stuff that we're going to cover at the beginning of class. Okay? So I can do that. It doesn't look great. I can change the background color by clicking on here. Going over to back color, clicking over here. Going to custom. There's a palette, so I can make it a there. All right. So I'm going to show you like 3 or 4 lines of text, and we're done. So I'm going to click in here. All right. And don't worry, again, we'll go over what all this stuff means. But I'm going to put in here txt message dot text equal txt full name dot text. Full name dot text. Come on. Dot text plus a blank space plus, very similar to what we looked at before. All right, txt age dot text. All right, so that'll fill that up. I don't need a plus sign in there anymore. Semicolon. All right, hit enter. And then finally for the calculate, or the clear button I should say, click in there, and I'm going to say txt full name dot text equals the empty string txt age dot text equals the empty string txt first name, full name it is, full name dot focus. It's giving me a heck of a lot more IntelliSense than it did in previous versions. I'm a little freaked out by that, but it's fine. Okay, so that's the whole thing. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to run it. Okay? Oh. It still thinks it needs to run the other one, so I want to click here to make this my active project. So I click on the one that we just created, which was my second project, and we will tell it in here, let's see, where is it? Set as startup project. Click right here, and here it is. All right, I know that's a little hard to see, but so I'm going to come in here and say Jeff Scott, 65, click calculate. There's my message. I click clear. This should clear, this should clear, this should clear, and I should put the focus back there. In fact, it looks like I didn't clear the message one, so that one won't clear. Okay? So, I can come back here and also say txt message dot text equals double quote, save it, run it again. I'm going to put in another button just because I can, right? So right there, I'm just going to copy that, paste in another button. There it is. And we'll put exit right here. Now normally we'd put some code in here. I'm going to give you the actual code, but I don't want to write it off the top of my head because I'm sure I'd screw it up, and I don't want to do that in front of you. So I'm going to change the name of this button to BTN exit. All right, and when I click on this, see if it does it still take the me dot. Doesn't like the me dot. This dot. Close. See if it takes that okay. So again, one last time. So I'll put Mary Jones. She's 32. So there's all that. There's clearing everything, and you see the cursors there, and there's exit. That's it. So we are going to literally start writing stuff from day one. Again, the syllabus is out there. All right, there are going to be times when we're going to spend almost the entire period where I'll be lecturing or I'll be demoing something, and I'll expect you to follow along. There'll be other times when I'm just going to be online, and it's basically you guys are working. You got questions, you just ask. Okay? All right, that's all I wanted to show you.